The voice of the alien general reverberated across the galaxy. His image was projected everywhere his species was found, in every known corner of space. The Xandar had vanquished countless civilizations, enslaved worlds, and faced innumerable adversaries. To them, mankind was a young race just beginning to scratch the surface of technological advancement. His harsh remarks echoed across every screen as he gave his damning assessment of humanity. "Humans," he spat, "you hide behind cowardice. Your diplomacy, your endless discussions, they are but a shield. You build weapons, yet you lack the bravery to use them. You are weak." The disdain in his voice was clear. Behind him stood rows of warriors, upright and imposing, their heavy armor casting long, intimidating shadows. The Xandar were a vicious species, one that placed supreme value on power and dominance. To them, humanity was a joke, a species not yet confronted with real power. And then the general issued a challenge, one that echoed in the hearts of all who heard it. "Prove yourselves," he declared. "Send us your finest fighter, or hide in shame. Let the stars see your cowardice." The galaxy waited. Many expected Earth's leaders to deliberate, to weigh the risk. But there was no debate, no delay, no diplomacy. Humanity answered with certainty, not with fleets or armies, but with a single choice, a decision that sent shockwaves through the stars. "We'll send you one, just one." The alien general laughed, mocking Earth's reply. "One soldier against the might of the Xandar, their arrogance will be their end." But this wasn't arrogance, it was trust. The soldier humanity sent was no ordinary fighter. He wasn't chosen for brute strength or flashy heroism. He was chosen because he embodied something the Xandar had never encountered: human adaptability, ingenuity, and relentless will. No grand speeches, no dramatic declarations, just a quiet man with a mission. He knew the stakes. He carried humanity's hopes not as a burden but as an honor. And he did so silently as the arena, a marvel of alien engineering, loomed. The Xandar prepared. Towering walls shimmered with energy fields, indestructible and ominous. The battlefield was built to showcase Xandar dominance, a brutal space where only the strongest could survive. The tension crackled as warriors clad in godlike armor stepped forward, weapons gleaming. Then the human appeared. One man, lightly armored, no massive weapons, just a few carefully chosen tools. He walked with purpose, calm eyes sharp, no fear, no bravado. At first the Xandar scoffed, then they laughed. The general raised his hand and the battle began. The first Xandar warrior charged like lightning, fast, massive, deadly. His energy blade flared as he lunged, but the human didn't flinch. With eerie calm, he sidestepped, smooth and fluid as if he knew exactly where the blade would land. The alien stumbled, unbalanced, and the human struck. One punch, precise and efficient. The Xandar crashed to the ground. Silence, then confusion, then rage. It was a fluke, the general muttered, though doubt crept into his voice. He sent two more warriors, elite fighters. The human didn't wait. He moved first, each step deliberate, every motion controlled. They attacked in perfect sync, blades slicing the air with lethal precision. But the human was faster. He danced between their strikes, weaving through their power like wind through trees. He used their size against them, their aggression, their strength, and turned it into weakness. They fell hard, and this time the silence in the arena was filled with something else. Fear. The general clenched his jaw. This wasn't what he expected. This wasn't supposed to happen. He signaled for the elites, his best. The soldiers who crushed entire civilizations without pause. They had never lost, never faltered. They moved in with brutal intent. But strength was not enough. The human didn't meet them with power. He met them with precision. He used the battlefield, forced them into bad positions, exploited their overconfidence. Their every move was anticipated, their every strike countered. One by one, they fell. The human remained standing, steady, focused, barely winded, and now the general's confidence began to crumble. What was this? Who was this? He realized too late that this wasn't just about a single battle. This was about a message. Humanity was not what they expected. Humanity was not weak, and one soldier was enough to prove it. The arena was no longer a battleground. It was a stage, and the galaxy was watching. The Xandar, who once saw themselves as unstoppable, now watched as their finest were dismantled, not with brute force, but with brilliance. This wasn't just victory. It was a warning. Mess with humanity, and you'll find out exactly what one of us is capable of. Simply put, he was more competent than any of them. They were ready for the upcoming few minutes. The elites fought in a whirlwind, releasing everything. They owned blasts of energy, cutting with their weapons. But it was human brilliance. The human soldier moved with grace and efficiency that appeared nearly unattainable. At every stage, he remained one step ahead. It seemed as though he was anticipating every action. He had already engaged in combat in his mind, imagining and reenacting every possible circumstance before the first blow was even delivered. Another elite fell, then another. Xandar, who had previously been so certain of their triumph, was now hesitant, fearful of something they'd never experienced. They sensed it before, but never in any of their victories, because there was only one person who had moved to instill that fear in them. Near the final members of the elite, he avoided a wild energy blade swing and delivered a clean strike. The enormous figure collapsed, armor and muscle falling in a pile. Hush descended upon the arena, only interrupted by the sounds of the Xandar elites struggling to breathe. The fight was over for them, but the soldier, the human, wasn't finished. He remained composed, unfazed, as though he hadn't just defeated Xandar's finest fighters. He turned his eyes to the alien general, a being whose assurance had nearly been destroyed. The general gritted his teeth, his voice trembling with disbelief. "How is this possible? One soldier versus an army is nothing." But the human soldier didn't need to reply. The answer was already evident in the surrounding carnage. For him, this was more than just strength, more than adaptability or even technology. It was knowledge. It was understanding. Xandar had depended on the same strategies for centuries. They were a dominant species, stronger, yes, but humanity had changed. They had learned to fight differently, smarter, using every advantage they could find, no matter how small. The general became enraged. He let out a furious yell, signaling. The remaining warriors, hesitant and fearful, they entered the arena while they stared, terrified of the figure who had dismantled their comrades with shocking ease. The human soldier stood still, waiting. He wasn't finished. Not yet. Xandar charged ahead, a desperate and calculated move. They hoped that overwhelming numbers would be enough, but hope shattered. Like a shadow, the soldier passed through them. Every motion, every blow precise, efficient, calculated. He never overreached, never wasted energy. One by one, they fell. Xandar had been so sure of victory, but now their warriors were scattered, defeated, and the human soldier remained unaffected, unconcerned. He had created chaos. The general's hands began to shake. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Xandar always triumphed, always overwhelmed its enemies with brute force. But now their best fighters were defeated, and humanity had emerged victorious. For the first time in his long career, the alien general was genuinely terrified. He had underestimated humanity. He believed they didn't fight, believed that made them weak. He thought their reliance on strategy and diplomacy made them cowards, but now he understood. The strength of humanity wasn't in their weapons. It was in their flexibility, their survival instinct. The general's voice, once full of pride, now shook with uncertainty. "This isn't possible. You should have fallen," he whispered. "The human should have been crushed." The soldier's eyes locked on him, silent, unyielding. He didn't need to speak. His actions said more than any words ever could. The general stumbled backward, mind racing. He had to do something, anything, to turn the tide. But deep down, he knew it was too late. His warriors were gone. His confidence was shattered. He had underestimated the wrong species, and now he was paying the price. This wasn't just about victory anymore. It was about survival. and the general wasn't sure if he or any of the Xandar would survive what came next. He stood frozen, desperate, searching for answers. His certainty was now just a hollow memory. This one soldier had destroyed his faith. The Xandar system, built on fear, had been violated by a single human, a peaceful warrior, composed. He gave the general no space to regain control, no arrogant proclamation of victory, just silence, intentional silence. At that moment, the general understood. The human wasn't here for fame or honor. There was only one reason: victory. Panic surged through the general. He tried to hide it from the watching soldiers, tried to act in control, but with each passing second, the weight of defeat grew heavier. He had never imagined this outcome. The Xandar had crushed civilizations far more advanced, far more numerous, but they had never faced this. They had never faced humanity's greatest weapon, the quiet determination of a single human being who refused to surrender.